Hey guys, it's Cece, and today I am here to do an incredibly large book haul. I have, I think, 30 books, which is maybe more average for other booktubers, but it's definitely not average for me. This is just the number of books I've acquired since my last book haul video, whenever that was. But I have a lot of books to talk about, including a ton of 2018 releases, a few 2019 releases, and more. So we are just going to get into it and start because I have a lot of stuff to cover. So the very first thing I want to talk about is that I am partnering with Disney Book Group for this book haul. They have sent me a couple of books that I'm very excited to talk about and to tell you all about, and it is because I'm talking about Artemis Fowl. In case you didn't already know, the Artemis Fowl series by Eoin Colfer is getting a series of redesigned covers. They are being released 2 per month. So the first couple came out at the beginning of October, the second couple came out November 6th, and the series will finish up releasing those redesigned covers in January. I'm going to show you 2 of these redesigned covers. So first up we have Artemis Fowl, the first book in the series, and then we also have Artemis Fowl, the Arctic Incident. In case you don't know, Artemis Fowl was one of my longtime favorite series when I was younger, and actually in one of the very first videos on my channel that I ever did, I shared the fact that I learned the language that is written at the bottom of these books when I was younger. I don't know it anymore, but that was in one of the very first videos I ever did for this channel. So Artemis Fowl is about a 12-year-old genius, named of course Artemis. He's also a millionaire and a criminal mastermind, but it's possible he's bitten off more than he can chew when he kidnaps Captain Holly Short. She is a fairy, and these are not the fairies of nice bedtime stories. They are armed and they are dangerous. These books are a ridiculous amount of fun. I loved them growing up, and I'm so excited about these re-released covers, especially because they are being released to start the promotion for the new Artemis Fowl movie. The Artemis Fowl movie is another thing I've been excited about for years, and we're getting very close to it happening. So this is the first 2 books in these re-released covers. This is what they look like. I think that they're fantastic. I just like that we get more clear images of the main characters, and they're kind of colorful and fun, which really emphasizes the nature of the books. So there you go, those are the first 2. The 3rd and 4th books, The Eternity Code and The Opal Deception, are already out in stores, and you can look forward to the last 4 at the beginning of December and the beginning of January. Also, shout out to these redesigned covers, because they actually say book 1 and book 2, and in my youth, the books did not have that written on the side, and I read a book out of order, so thank you. Moving on to a lot of other books. Real quick, I want to talk about some of the books that Penguin Teen sent me for the Fall into Fantasy readathon. If you don't know about the readathon, go check out my TBR announcement. It's super exciting. It is happening during the week of Thanksgiving. They sent Forest of a Thousand Lanterns as well as Kingdom of the Blazing Phoenix by Julie C. Dow. This is the new sequel to Forest of a Thousand Lanterns, which I already owned in a hardcover, but this is the new release paperback to go along with the new book. This is an East Asian-inspired retelling of the Evil Queen myth. It is a duology, so these are the only 2 books in the series. I loved this first book, and I've been really excited to read the second one. I am reading the second one during Fall into Fantasy, hopefully. During that week, I will also be reading and hosting The Brilliant Death by Amy Rose Capetta. I'm sorry, in opening this up, I just realized, I can't believe I didn't notice it. This is a signed copy. It's about a girl named Theodora who must hide the fact that she is a strega, a person with the capability to change human beings into objects. And then the ruler of Venalia, which is the place where these people live, kills the 5 ruling patriarchs that are sort of like the ruling mob families of the area, and Theodora's father is one of those patriarchs. And none of her brothers want to step up to try to save the day, try to save their family, so Theodora decides that she is the one who's going to have to do it, and she is going to need the help of a strega named Cielo. It's possibly Cielo. I mean, this is Italian, but I'm not 100%. They are also a strega, but they have the ability to change between human and animal, between male and female, and they are going to have to guide Theodora so that she can infiltrate the ruling family, not just disguised as a boy, but turned into one. I've talked about this more in about a million other videos. I'm super excited about reading it with all of you. During that week, we will also be reading other books that I am not currently planning on having on my TBR. We've got Beasts Made of Night by Tochi Onyebuchi. and the sequel, Crown of Thunder. This is a series of Nigerian-inspired fantasy books about a world where sin can be extracted from people, and that sin becomes something called a sin beast. And there are young sin eaters that are picked out by mages who are hired to slay the sin beasts. It sounds like a really fascinating series, and I've heard incredible things about it, so I'm very excited to have these two. And the last book that's being highlighted during Fall into Fantasy is Give the Dark My Love by Beth Revis. This book is about a 17-year-old girl named Nedra who leaves her home to go to a prestigious academy where she's trying to learn medicinal alchemy. Nedra is mostly focused on trying to cure the plague that is going through the nation, and eventually Nedra starts going after the forbidden practices of alchemy, trying to learn things and trying to perform magic that she will never be able to come back from. Please join us, read one of these books, read all of them. Read The Brilliant Death with me on the 20th of November. Next, I want to talk about a graphic novel I purchased by myself, and that is Check Please, book number 1, #hockey. This is by Ngozi Ukazu. This is a webcomic I've been obsessed with for a couple of years now. I'm sure you guys have heard me talk about it a million times, but now it is a physical graphic novel. This is about a young southern baker named Biddy, who is also a vlogger and a figure skater and amateur hockey player. It is his first year at his East Coast University, Samwell, where he is joining the men's hockey team. There he faces his fear of checking, learns to make a group of new friends, and possibly forms an ill-advised crush on his brooding team captain. Please, for the love of everything, read Check Please. Now it's real. I'm gonna get even more pushy about this. I also purchased a few of Victoria Schwab's books for, signing reasons. So I picked up the new copy of Vicious. I already had a paperback copy of this, but I really wanted a copy to match the new cover of Vengeful. This is about two best friends, Victor and Eli, in college, who discover that the key to superpowers is near-death experiences. I recently just reread it, loved it all over again. To go along with that, I got Vengeful, which is the new book, the second part of the Villains series. This book still follows the surviving cast of Vicious, as well as a new character named Marcella. That's all I know about this. I haven't started it yet, but I am excited about it. I picked these two up because I was meeting Victoria Schwab for a book event to celebrate Vengeful. I purchased this copy of Vengeful to get into the event. That event is also where I interviewed her, if you haven't seen that interview yet. But since I was meeting her, I wanted to pick up a book I hadn't read yet so I could get it signed, which meant that my full Victoria Schwab collection is all signed. Every single one of them. So I picked up our Dark Duet. This is the second part of the Monsters of Verity series. The first book is The Savage Song. This is a duology about a world where acts of violence breed monsters, but that keeps my Victoria Schwab collection updated as far as I want it, and updated to the fact that they are all signed. Some other books I purchased myself from various places. First, we have Spellbook of the Lost and Found by Moira Fowley-Doyle. I read this last October and really loved it and have wanted my own copy. This book is set in a small town in Ireland, and it starts at a party. The night after the party, things begin disappearing. First, they're innocuous, but the longer time goes on, the more it becomes apparent that greater and more dear things have been lost. When a spellbook is found that seems to have a spell to return things that have been lost, 6 strangers figure out that there is a part for each of them to play in that spell. It's just got that perfect level of magic and mystery, and it's beautiful. That's why I bought it. At the same time, I also bought How to Make a Wish by Ashley Herring Blake, another one that I've already read but wanted. So this book is about a girl named Grace who has sort of learned not to rely on things after being raised by an unpredictable mother. And then she meets Ava, a girl who lets her dream about a future, also a girl who has just lost a mother that she loved very dearly. Grace feels like she's being pushed more and more in a direction where she's going to have to choose between this girl that she maybe loves and a mother who she loves but has caused her so much pain. It is a beautiful female-female romance that explores family really well, that explores grief really well, and I loved this to bits when I read it as, I think, an ARC. I think I got this as an e-ARC, so I've just been waiting to have my own copy. A couple more books that I purchased myself, these from a secondhand store. So we've got Where'd You Go, Bernadette by Maria Semple. I didn't know that much about this book, frankly, at all. When I saw it at the store, it was one of those few times where I didn't overthink purchasing it. I just saw it, recognized it from BookTube, didn't know a ton about it, but trusted the reviews I'd heard, so I bought it. I mean, it was 75 cents. so I bought it. I also got a second book by Ashley Herring Blake, and that is Ivy Aberdeen's Letter to the World. This is about 12-year-old Ivy Aberdeen who has a tornado destroy her house. Her family is displaced. She's trying to find her place in the world, but she is also devastated and worried because her diary, which is full of drawings of girls holding hands, has gone missing. And then those drawings start reappearing. They are paired with notes telling Ivy to be more open about herself, and she finds herself hoping that these are notes from her crush, a girl in her class. I love queer middle grade, so I was very excited to find this, especially considering how much I loved the first book I read by Ashley, How to Make a Wish. I'm excited about some of Ashley's other work, so I just decided to grab this because I feel like I'm going to have a very full collection of Ashley Herring Blake's work one day, and this just had to fit into that collection. A few more books that I purchased myself, and then we'll get into some of the ones that publishers have sent me. So we also have The Girl Who Drank the Moon. This is by Kelly Barnhill. I believe this is also middle grade. So I purchased this with the intent to participate in Witchathon, which happened at the end of October. I was part of a reading group that was all reading this book together, and I never cracked the first page. So in this world, the people of the Protectorate every year leave a baby as a sacrifice to the witch who lives in the woods, hoping that that will protect them. But the witch in the woods happens to be a very nice woman who takes the children, protects them, and delivers them to loving families on the other side of the forest. And then one year the witch, Zan, accidentally feeds a baby Moonlight instead of Starlight. This gives the girl magic, and Zan decides to name the baby Luna and raise her as her own. So this is a middle grade about witches and loveliness, soft witches. So I picked this up for a readathon that I didn't participate in, but I still want to read it someday, so that's why I have this. Also have a 2018 release I have been anticipating so much. Actually, a few 2018 releases that I've been anticipating that I bought. So I went to an event at the King's English, which is a bookstore in Salt Lake City. It's the same place where I went to the event with Victoria Schwab. I've gone to numerous events there, but it was an Epic Reads meetup with 4 different Epic Reads authors. I only went there to meet one. So I went to meet Kheryn Callender, who is the author of This Is Kind of an Epic Love Story. This is a love story starring Nate, who doesn't believe in happy endings. His parents have gone through a terrible divorce. He had a best friend who was then his girlfriend, and then they broke up. And then a childhood best friend named Oliver Hernandez moves back into town. This is a love story between queer people of color. This is what this book has been billed as for, like, the full promotional cycle. I believe the love interest is also deaf. I've just been delighted to read this book, and I was so excited that Kheryn came to this event that was near me so that I could meet them and, oh, of course, get the book signed. So there we go. There's the signature. But while I was there, I decided that as much as I talk about supporting your local indie bookstores, I don't do it nearly enough. So I picked up a bunch of other queer releases that were there. I picked up an older favorite of mine, Juliet Takes a Breath by Gabby Rivera. I read this as an e-arc and then never got my own physical copy. This is one of my favorite books of all time, so I was so excited to see a physical copy in a bookstore, because this is from an indie publisher and you pretty much only can order it online from what I've been able to tell, but it was there, sitting in the bookstore. This is about a girl named Juliet who's trying to come to terms with the fact that she doesn't know if she can identify as a feminist when feminism seems like such a white construct. She's also trying to reconcile how she can identify as a lesbian, how all of this fits into her relationship as being a Puerto Rican girl from the Bronx, and then she gets the chance to do a summer internship with her favorite Lady Power author. I adore that it features a Puerto Rican girl with an undercut on the cover. I cannot wait to go through it alongside my e-arc and just mark up all of the passages that I've had marked up on my digital copy for so long. I also picked up Picture Us in the Light by Kelly Loy Gilbert. I just talked about this book in my top 20 queer TBR, which you should go watch. This is about a boy named Danny Chang who feels like his life is shrouded in secrets. He knows that his parents are keeping secrets from him for sure. And then he finds a box of old letters that slowly begin to reveal a past about Danny's family that he didn't know. I've heard this book is like heartbreaking and beautiful and wonderful. I love the cover. It's like the title is lifted. It's a very nice book to feel. I also like that under the cover the book looks like a brick wall, and that when you put the cover back on, it's covered in art. The last book that I got at the King's English was What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera, another one of my most anticipated releases of 2018, which is a first signed edition, which means I have Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera's signature in the front cover. So this is about Ben and Arthur when they have a chance meeting at the post office. Ben is there to mail a box of his ex-boyfriend's things. It's kind of an unfortunate situation, but the two of them happen to meet up. All any of us have been wondering forever, and like, not everyone anymore. A lot of people have already read this, but I am still wondering if this has an Albertalli ending or a Silvera ending, and I gotta know. It's probably going to break my heart no matter what the ending is, but it's also going to be really, really good. I was really excited to find, I think it was their last signed first edition at the store, so I was really happy to find this. Everything else I have here I was sent by publishers, subscription boxes, or specific people. So I'm going to talk about those now. First, some subscription box reads. We have Pride by E.B. Zaboy. This is a retelling of Pride and Prejudice, or at least it's inspired by Pride and Prejudice. It is a book set in the Bronx, and it has a cast of almost entirely Afro-Latinx characters. I also think it has a beautiful cover that's like lifted and lovely to touch, and this is the Alcrate exclusive edition, which means it has Pride in pink instead of blue. But can we talk about this, because it's gorgeous. This has been one that I've been interested in, but now that reviews are pouring in, they're all really positive. I didn't love E.B. Zaboy's first book, American Street, but I'm really hopeful that I'm gonna love this one. I also received a book through Uppercase, and that is Blanca y Roja by Anna Marie McLemore. This is about a family that is under a centuries-old spell that binds the family to the bevy of swans that live in the woods. So it's about these two girls who have grown up as sisters, but have also grown up as rivals, because they know that one day they will have to compete, and at the end of the competition, one will walk free and one will be bound to the body of a swan. It's also about two local boys who get wound into the game. One of them is non-binary, and the other one is dealing with a recent disability. This is going to be magical and lovely. I adored Wild Beauty last year. It was one of my favorite books of the year, so I was absolutely thrilled when this came in Uppercase. We also have Summerbird Blue by Akemi Dawn Bowman. I also talked about this in my top 20 queer TBR. This is about a girl named Rumi who is trying to figure out where her life stands after her sister dies and her mother sends her away in grief to live in Hawaii. I also know it's about a character who is trying to figure out her place on the aromantic and asexual spectrums, so definitely want to read this. Simon & Schuster also sent along a graphic novel called Fake Blood by Whitney Gardner. So this is about a guy named AJ who has a crush on this girl Nia, but knows he's never going to get Nia's attention because she only has eyes for vampires. So when they get paired up on a group project to go to Transylvania, AJ sees this as his chance. He's going to disguise himself as her favorite vampire hunk, but this turns out to be problematic when he realizes that Nia is not in love with vampires, she's actually a slayer. So this looks like a really delightful graphic novel with really cute art. It's a middle grade graphic novel, which I adore. I had never heard of this until I got the email from Simon & Schuster asking if I wanted Summerbird Blue, but as soon as I read the description, I knew that it was going to be something very up my alley. It also was sent by a friend. I Was Born for This by Alice Oseman. Jane from the channel It's Jane Lindsay sent this to me. She had an extra copy, so she sent it my way. I am currently reading it. I'm a little baby barely bit in. I just started it last night. So this is about a girl named Angel who is obsessed with a band called The Ark. She's involved in their fandom, and this is a fandom that has exposed her to kind of everything about herself, her friends, her likes, her passions. Also about a guy named Jimmy who is the front man for The Ark. Like, it's delightful already. I love Alice Oseman's writing. I think she captures fandom particularly well. I think that she captures dialogue really well. It's just funny and heartwarming, and she writes characters that just, like, make me ache in a way that I'm like, oh, that's so relatable. That feeling of inadequacy, those feelings of anxiety, she writes them and captures them in such a perfect way. You guys were all right to tell me to read this immediately. I have one more 2018 release to talk about, and then I'll talk about the 4 2019 releases I have. So I have Girls of Paper and Fire. This is by Natasha Nagan. So every year in this world, 8 paper girls are chosen to serve the king. But this year, a 9th girl is chosen. Her name is Lay, but because she has these golden eyes, she's caught the eye of the king, and so she's brought into the castle as well, and she dreams of escaping, but what she doesn't mean to do is fall in love. This is about Asian sapphic girls escaping from a demon king's palace. I've been really anticipating this book, and I sent an email to the publisher asking if they would send me a copy to review, so this book came from them, but it also included an arc for one of my most anticipated 2019 releases that I totally didn't ask for, but was such a complete, like, super great surprise. They sent me Once in Future by Amy Rose Capetta and Corey McCarthy. So this is a gender-bent King Arthur retelling set in the future. And this also has sapphic girls. I'm so happy. So this is about a girl named Ari. She crash lands on Earth and somehow pulls the sword Excalibur from its ancient resting place and is determined to be the newest reincarnation of Arthur. She is joined by Merlin, who has been aging backwards over the centuries and is now a teenager. So happy. I was so excited when I opened this package, I can't even tell you. I also got a couple of unsolicited arcs from Simon & Schuster. The first is Sky Without Stars. This is by Jessica Brody and Joanne Rendell. I don't know a ton about this besides the fact that even as an arc, it's like huge. I also can't even begin to describe to you what the back of this says. It's overwhelming. But it's a sci-fi book that is like sci-fi but also compared to Les Mis, and that's just weird enough for me that I'm keeping this arc and I'm gonna try to give it a read. It sounds wild. They also sent along Slayer by Kiersten White. This is a book set in the Buffy universe about a girl named Nina who has grown up along with her sister in the Watchers Academy, trained as Watchers for Slayers. But Nina kind of doesn't want to follow along the more violent road of the Watchers. She winds up being more the school medic, and this is a decision that changes her life forever. I don't really want to tell you more than that because the rest of the back of this book spoils the season finale of the television show Buffy. And I don't want to do that to you. I love Buffy and it's one of my favorite shows. So, like I said, I've been really interested in this and really hopeful that it's going to be good. Okay, the last book I'm going to talk about is I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. I have it in my hands. I have been hearing about this book since it was in manuscript form. I'm so proud of Mason. I'm so excited to read their book. This is about Ben DeBecker, who comes out to their parents as non-binary and is thrown out of their home. Ben is then forced to move in with their estranged sister Hannah and Hannah's husband Thomas, who Ben has never met. Ben comes out to the two of them and their therapist and no one else as they start at a new school for senior year. But at this school is Nathan, who takes Ben under his wing, and as they grow closer and closer as friends, they also start to maybe have some feelings for each other emerging. I've already told you how excited I am about this book. It has a beautiful cover. I am so incredibly excited about the good that this book is going to do. This is going to be a traditionally published novel about a non-binary character by a non-binary author, and I could not be more thrilled to be holding it in my hands and to be able to read it. So keep an eye out for this one, because it's coming in 2019. Okay, that's it. I'm finally done. Those are all of the books that I've hauled recently. It's a lot. I've been buying a lot of books, but I'm really excited about all of them. Are there any of these books that you are really highly anticipating or that you really want to read? Are there any that you have read and are favorites? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!